to get 95% of people results that sign up for a workout program, you need to make sure that they move their body, stop eating fast food, and go for a fucking walk.
Every superhero has an origin story. Yours begins when you stop battling chaos and start building systems.
I'm Josh Braden, gym owner turned implementer, here to help you turn passion into predictable growth.
And I'm Josh Elsesser, from the grind of in-person coaching to building digital empires. Together, we're breaking down how to build less, scale faster, and keep it simple. This is online coaching as a science, powered by Keep It Simple OS. Systemized to scale, simplify to win.
All right, guys, we're going to start talking about the early days and the early grind with Josh here, or Josh E, which I like to call him.
Whatever you guys want to call me.
So Josh, I know we both did at one point in time own some gyms. Tell me a little bit about what your gyms look like and what kind of chaos, what it really looked like.
So I only had one gym, and chaos is a good word for the way that things happened. Originally, there were 4 business partners. I was not one of the originals. The 4 business partners became 3 business partners when one of them got upset at a decision that another one made. I became part of it at that point, and we ended up buying out the other business partner. So then it went from 3 to 3 essentially. And that was 2019. So that was April of 2019. March of 2020, COVID hit, and the state of California was shut down.
Oh yeah, California, yeah.
So
shut everything down.
It was nuts. Luckily, we were able to get some funding. We got some grants. We shut down the gym the first time the governor shut us down. Did that whole thing for about 6 weeks. The second time he shut us down, we did not close. We stayed open and we just chanced it. So we made it through 2020 somehow. 2021, things started to get a little bit better. 2022 was a little bit better, but at that point, one of the 3 business partners we weren't making enough to sustain all 3 of us for income. So he moved his family from California back to Kansas, where they were from. And so then it went from 3 to 2. And it felt like 2 years of just treading water is the best way I could put it, right?
I feel like that's every gym owner.
Yeah, like we never really could get enough momentum to feel like we were growing the way we wanted to. We would have moments of bright spots, right, where things started to click and we were doing better, we were selling more, we were making more money, we were taking home better paychecks, but they were always followed by a month or 2 of just down, right? And unfortunately, my business partner and I is awesome as a guy he is, and as talented as he is, and our skill sets are exactly the opposite, right? It was this very yin yang kind of scenario.
Seems
where
like that would work
should
out,
have been,
yeah.
right? It should have been perfect, right? If we were able to align and really be able to bounce our strengths off of each other. And unfortunately, I just don't feel like we were able to ever really get aligned in ultimate vision of what we wanted to do or how we wanted to do it. And I think that's what kind of caused us to never really get where we wanted to. And I think at some point we both realized separately that in order for this to do something, one of us is probably going to have to leave. So in 2023, he approached me and asked me if I was interested in selling my share, and I said absolutely.
Oh, nice.
So
got out of it.
I did get out of it. I didn't get very much. Right, I walked away with some extra equipment and no debt.
Well, that's a positive thing.
Which was the nice part of it, right? But when you talk about like not being able to pay yourself, right, trying to figure out how to pay rent, pay staff, marketing, unfortunately, when I came in as an owner, there were some previous decisions that were made that weren't the best financially, right? I felt like when those guys opened the gym, they really built a gym for themselves, not for the people that they were trying to serve.
I see that all the time.
And so they built they bought way too much stuff. We had so much equipment that we weren't using. And so that was also what kind of sustained us through COVID. We were able to sell some of that stuff off, right? Because
all the extra
you
equipment.
remember during COVID, like fitness equipment was like going like
2 to 3 times as much,
right?
as it was
$2 a pound for dumbbells and stuff, right? So we were making a little bit of money selling off some of the extra stuff that we really didn't need. Changed our format a couple of times, hired business coaches, and again, like I said, we would start to make some progress. We'd start to get some momentum. And then for one reason or another, it was just unsustainable. We couldn't get there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my story.
Nice. Well, wow. I didn't know that the whole story behind the gyms. That's awesome. Sounds like a lot of chaos. Oh yeah, I gotta be closer. Sounds like a lot of chaos. In your gym story sounds almost like mine, but mine would be multiplied by 4. We started off in doing boot camps in our backyard. We grew that to about 30 to 40 clients. We thought we were doing awesome, right? People were coming to the backyard twice a week, Braden's boot camp, ready to rock and roll, right? Literally cutting the grass in circles because I forgot to mow. We had 3 acres, forgot to mow, so I just made a big circle, and everybody's like, why is the circle? I said, well, this is the circle of pain. And everybody was like, woohoo, right? Super excited about it. I thought it was all kinds of fun. Put all kinds of random equipment out there. People loved it. And winter came, and they're like, hey, what are we going to do now? Like, well, I guess I'll see you next summer. And they're like, no, we want to keep working out. So we rented this warehouse / storage space in a sketchy little town and had 800 square feet where literally in the mornings during the winter, I would carry a kerosene heater in, light it for 30 minutes. And then before everybody got there, 15 minutes before they did, I'd take it outside and turn it off. Carrying a kerosene heater while it's on, real sketchy. As soon as you turn it off, fumes go everywhere.
Oh.
So I didn't want the fumes when people were walking in, so I'd carry it outside, turn it off outside, so the fumes would be outside. And that quickly grew, and we thought we were doing awesome, right? It quickly grew. We moved into another warehouse right over on Stringtown Road. Actually paid to be a CrossFit affiliate for the first time. We were doing CrossFit stuff before that.
What year was this?
That was, let's see here, 2014, I think, 14, 15. And from that space, it's about 2,200 square feet. We were in a really good area. We grew that like crazy. I was working a full-time job, so I'd train people in classes in the morning, classes in the evening. And then one day, one of our coaches, I needed to do 4 o'clock classes. And my job wasn't over until 5. So I'd always tell him that I was cold calling the last half of the day when I had to coach classes. So I'd be able to do both. Super busy time. Family was stressed out because I was always at the gym or always at work. It was complete and total chaos. But to the clients, everything was great, right? People were growing. The classes were fun. Everybody was having a good old time. And I got lucky and was able to hire a coach there that ultimately became the one that was running everything. And we expanded again, moved from 2,500 square feet to 6,000 square feet, a little bit further away. And that gym, to me, was the best thing ever, right? We had coaches. It was running itself. It was profitable. Everything looked good on paper. It was easy to run. Everybody was happy. And at that particular time, when it was small, there wasn't a whole lot of chaos, right? Because there weren't a whole lot of systems that were needed. And one day, I had the opportunity to buy a second gym. And I was like, we did this well at our first gym. Second gym, be okay to do it. So
you started a second gym from scratch, or you bought one? Okay.
Bought one, and I thought that was going to be the best thing to do, right? So we were going to buy one, and some of the members latched onto it. So I brought on 2 silent partners that helped fund the purchase of the second location because they're like, man, if this gym's doing so well, then you can do it over here. Well, like I said, from the first gym, we didn't really have any systems. We didn't have any SOPs. We didn't have a whole lot of why it was working. We just thought we could duplicate something that we didn't really know why it was working, right? Now, in hindsight, I realized that's what was happening. So we bought the other location, quickly realized the primary reason why the first one was working so well is because of the people and the coaches. We couldn't duplicate the people and the coaches in the second gym. So it was doing okay, it's profitable, barely. But it was a lot of headache, a lot of chaos in it. And at that point in time, I was like, I don't really like owning gyms at this point. I'm just cleaning stuff.
Was the second gym, was it a pay for access? Did you run the exact same kind of model?
So we were trying to do the same model. Another CrossFit gym. We actually changed it. We did CrossFit in the zip code. So in this zip code, it was CrossFit 43123. And that zip code, I think it was 43110. Right. So the logos looked the same, but it matched the CrossFit stuff. Did the same programming. We bought equipment so they could do the same stuff with the equipment, set it up with the same brand, the same colors, but that's where the systems kind of stopped. So it looked on the outside like everything was good, right? But what ended up happening is I ended up being the one fixing stuff. I ended up being the one, setting things up. And we didn't have enough money to hire those people, and we never really set up proper systems. But we eventually got it to doing pretty well, not as well as the first one, and got approached by some friends of mine from high school that did 10 times better than I ever did, right? And they have an investment company. They saw what we were doing. They wanted to invest in something into their portfolio. Their portfolio is huge, right? And they're like, hey, how much would it cost to open one of these up from scratch? And I was like, well, equipment and everything is about $125,000. And they're like, all right, how much more would you need off of that? And I was like, well, if you pre-sell enough, the actual expenses every month isn't that much. So we could probably pre-sell and be profitable within 3 to 6 months, right? And they're like, all right. And they came back to me and they're like, hey, I'd like to invest to open up some more gyms. I was like, that's awesome. Why not? And talking to them, they're like, well, I was like, well, where do you want to put the one extra gym? And they're like, no, we want 10. I was like, excuse me? 10? Like, yeah, we'll pledge $1.25 million, right? To open up 10 gyms. We'll do it one at a time, right? And as you open those gyms, we'll give you another. And all they wanted was a percentage of revenue from each gym. So me thinking, well, yeah, that's a no-brainer. Why not, right? So we opened up one from scratch, bought a second one, and me being a very naive, bullheaded, non-educated person, bought a gym that the previous owner was trying to get to profitability for the last 3 to 4 years. And I was like, our system will do it, right? Nope, it didn't. Open up the one from scratch. The thought process of 3 to 6 months of being profitable may have been the case, but building a gym from scratch, doing all the renovations and everything else that we had to do, it took the timeline from opening to about 90 days. It took us 8 months to do it. So all credibility in the area was gone. By the time we opened, we had like 20 members, maybe. So not even close to profitability. So that $125,000 to build it out turned into $300,000 because of operating expenses. Mm-hmm. Right? You never think about the operating expenses. Well, what if you don't get to profitability? How much money do you actually need? Long story short, we got them to profit. We weren't able to service all the debt, right? And the investment company made me an offer to basically get out from underneath all the debt. And I officially sold them back to the investment company. But a lot of people don't know this. I'm sure that this was in 2019 as well. I'm sure that it's out of statute of limitations. I can say it. But they made a deal where, hey, if you sign on this, you don't have to pay us back unless certain things happen. But you have to sign it and then walk away. Don't talk to the coaches because we don't want you to muddle anything up. Don't talk to the members, but you have to walk away. I was like, fuck. Do I get stuck with $750,000 of debt that I have to repay at a much higher rate and be able to tell friends and family what was going on? Or do I sign on this piece of paper with their attorney and walk away?
What'd you do?
I signed the piece of paper.
Yeah.
Right. Lost a lot of friends over it. There's probably a lot of stuff in my area being said, but it was the best thing that we had to do. And ironically, those same friends from high school, they actually call me every once in a while about a business opportunity that they want me to help run. So it was very amicable between us two because it was just business.
Yeah.
Like I did everything I could. They did everything that I could. They could. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
And they're used to that, right? Hey, we took a chance. Moving on, cutting our losses, and moving on. So that is my gym story.
Good story.
Pure fucking chaos. That was all it was. Just chaos.
I'm sure there were bright points.
There was bright points. I met my current wife there. Yeah.
She was a member?
She was a member. Yep. I got a divorce, and about 4 months after the divorce was finalized, she actually became a member, which ironically, the only reason why she became a member is her boyfriend at the time was doing CrossFit and dropped in at our gym. Right? And this is kind of a funny story. I don't know if you even know this, but my head coach at the time that was also doing sales and stuff like that, he's always taking videos of like the warm-ups and classes and stuff. And he posted something in the coaches group because there was probably 30 people in the class. Pretty big class. Mm-hmm. It was a 5 a.m. or 4:45 a.m. class. He posted something, and I immediately responded back on the side to him. I was like, who is that? Right? And it was a blonde-haired, fit girl jumping rope. And I was like, He didn't respond back with a name. And all he responded back with was, she has a boyfriend. And I was like, fudge.
For now.
Right? For now. So bided my time, waited until I heard from the grapevine that they broke up, and slid into the DMs, and that's a story for another time.
Nice.
Cool. Josh, I know we're here talking about the gyms, right? So what kind of made you go through the shift to trying to do stuff online? Because that's what we do, right? We help people go online and coach. So what made you really go to that shift, or we want to talk about that a little bit more? What is that, I guess, why did you decide to go digital?
So you as a trainer, gym owner, you start as a trainer and you always think like your ultimate goal is to own your own gym, right? Like that
is definitely
that's the crazy,
the holy grail.
That's the mindset for some reason.
Own that gym.
That's where we start, right? Like we think about it as if I can get to the point where I own my own gym, then I've made it, right? And you have no clue as a coach or a trainer, especially one working for a big box gym, like what it takes to own and manage.
No idea.
Gym. No clue whatsoever.
I had 300 members at one gym, and I wasn't making a dime.
We never had 300 members. I think the most we ever had was like 100, and that was, we were a little bit higher ticket. Like that was kind of our thing. But, you always know like buying equipment's going to be expensive and rent, right? But you don't think about the things like the days that you sit at the gym where there's no sales, there's no opportunity, like no leads, nothing, right? Like you work at a big box gym and they are marketing constantly to bring new members into the gym, right? They have a team of salespeople that are just there to sell memberships. So you have a constant stream of new faces as a trainer in a gym that you can market to, that you can talk to, that you have the opportunity to sell your services. You don't really think about that in terms of owning a gym and how hard that is to get people to walk in your door, right? And how expensive that can be, right? So after I left the gym, the obvious next move was, well, how can I continue to coach people? Because I loved coaching people. I also loved the business side. And I think I was probably at that point more in love with the business of coaching than I was in the actual act of coaching clients, right? Like I had been doing it for 25 years. I was over writing workouts with sets and reps and weights and rest periods and things of that nature, and having the same conversation over and over and over, like Groundhog Day, right? Like, yes, I know it's hard. Yes, I know that you're busy. Yes, I know that you don't want to eat those foods. I get it. Like all those same things. But I enjoyed the business part of it. I enjoyed the aspect of growing a business, of the number side of, the financial planning and trying to grow from that side. So I left the gym. I started, doing some online coaching. It was easy for the most part, right? And I quickly was like, wow, like overhead wise, there's nothing
compared to a gym,
right? Like, and I'm 100% mobile. Like we talked all the time about freedom, right? Like freedom as a coach or as a trainer is having the ability to kind of work the hours you want to work, but also be able to do what you want to do with your life. Have the money to be able to live the lifestyle you want, right? Travel, enjoy, own a home, raise a family, do all that kind of stuff, but not be burdened by having to work for somebody else, having to work underneath somebody else's rigid thing, right? But when you go from working underneath somebody else to owning your own, in 99% of the cases, all you're doing is buying yourself a more rigid job. Right. And but you don't have the structure, to your point, right? You don't have the structure, you don't have the systems.
They're not handing you the playbook.
Right. You've got to create it from scratch, which I also enjoyed that part of trying to figure it out from scratch. But now, when I went online after I sold the gym, it was like, wow, I don't have to be anywhere. I don't have to get up at 5 a.m. to be at the gym to coach a class. I don't have clients that are waiting on me. I can get up and be on my laptop. I live in Southern California. I could walk down to the beach and hang out on the pier because there's a restaurant that overlooks the water, and I could sit there with my cell phone and Wi-Fi.
It's making me want to leave
and do my coaching.
Ohio here.
It drove my then girlfriend, my wife, nuts. Now my wife, because she does work in an office, but yeah, it was that part that was kind of like, wow, this is the freedom part, right? And I could, the clients that I had, I could keep 100% of what I charged. I wasn't giving a percentage to anybody. I didn't have to worry about paying rent for a gym. I didn't have to worry about are the lease payments for the equipment. Where is that going to come from? I didn't have to worry about all the other stuff. I had a little bit of software expense. And I didn't even really have marketing expense because I was doing it all kind of word of mouth, just from old clients and things of that nature. I had already, before I sold the gym, had been working for another SaaS company, another software company. That's where we met.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
FitHive. Yeah, we can say
I had already started working for them. And
by the time this gets posted, you'll be out of your non-compete. So
I think I'm already out.
Okay.
So that was the other thing I was doing when I left. So I had that and I could work from home, and I could, travel around to go see family, do whatever I wanted. And I learned a ton of working for them, right? A lot of, I think you take a little bit of good and bad with everywhere, right? A little bit of really good things that they've done, and some things that learn what not to do.
Yep.
And how to act and how to function in a business. And that's when, that kind of leads all the way up to keep it simple. Yeah.
Yeah. That I'm starting to realize why we work well together, because our stories are almost exactly the same.
Aside from the name.
Right? Going to the online space after the gyms, like you said, there is such a breath of fresh air in terms of expense, right? Like I said, we were doing, at one point in time, I think we had probably 800 members between the 4 gyms. And everybody was wondering why I was still driving around my 2006 Tahoe with 400,000 miles on it. Right? Well.
But only a Tahoe could have 400,000
right,
miles
only
and still be driving around.
Right? That's why I love those damn things. But, what they didn't realize is the $8,000 lease at each location, the payroll, the gas. Like at one point in time, our toilet paper for 4 gyms was almost $2,000 a month.
That's a lot of toilet paper.
That is a lot of toilet paper. Like, I didn't even think about budgeting that in, right? So when you go online and making that shift, right, it took me a while to actually go online or partner with anybody to go online. Because like you, I didn't know what to do next. I knew I gained a lot of experiences, and I always tell people, especially the people that know me from the past, is they ask me what I help people with. I was like, well, to be honest with you, I just tell people the stuff not to do. Like, learn from my mistakes, right? When somebody says, hey, I got a gym that's doing really well, should I open up another one? I was like, no, raise your prices.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I don't want to lose anybody. I was like, well, you don't want another gym. I'll tell you that for sure, right? Or go online.
Sometimes though, people just have to experience that pain for themselves.
Oh, it was painful. I'm still probably paying for it somewhere, right? But like you, I sold software for FitHive, did really well. Loved talking to owners, and I think it really resonated when you tell them your story, kind of breaks them down. They understand that trust is there when you do start talking to them. And the more I worked with other gym owners, I realized my story, like your story, is not unique at all.
Right.
I would say, I mean, I'm sure there's a stat that we can look up, but I'm pretty sure majority of owners that do it themselves are feeling the same kind of thing, right? And as we started working with them, the shift to online was a couple of people came to us at FitHive looking for the software that was doing online. And when they started not balking at the price, they didn't have any of those stresses. And I started talking to them a little bit more. And even though they may not have been doing as much revenue, but the profit that they kept
was higher, for sure.
I was like, what is happening here?
I think that's the biggest thing that people don't realize is they see these revenue numbers that people do, right, and they're like, oh, I want to do revenue like that. Like,
$1 million gym is not a profitable gym.
You need to figure out how much money they're taking home.
Right.
Yeah.
How much are you keeping is the biggest thing. And when I started seeing online coaches come in, and then I started looking around the area and how much online coaches and it's not even a cash grab. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, you're going online, it's a cash grab. You're not providing services. What I was also finding is because I got lucky enough to meet him, but Dan Martell, I'm sure everybody else says this, but Dan Martell says it all the time, right? He says, profit solves all problems. Period. End of story, right? So online, you got the profit. If you need an admin, if you need somebody to help because the problem is you having to do all these emails and everything else, profit solves the problem. In a gym, you don't have any profit.
Right.
Can't solve any problems. So kind of making that shift and that thinking, I really, in that evolution of working with software, that's where I realized I wanted to help online coaches and I wanted to be part of an online coaching company.
Well, the interesting thing is, not to like segue that part, but like online coaching then comes with its own set of challenges that you don't realize.
Correct.
Right? Like there's the fulfillment aspect of it, and different than in-person training where you can see somebody physically, you can have that interaction, that relationship, that communication. Now you're trying to do it, remote and digitally, right? So now there's a disconnect. There's a barrier there on how well you can develop those relationships, right? Because I always felt like the biggest part of any personal training experience was the relationship you could build with that coach, and that coach getting to know you as a person, getting to know who you are, what you are, all that, the ins and outs of your life, your family, your work, all that kind of stuff. It's hard to do that. And to the same degree, like you can do it, but it creates a different challenge in and of itself. In addition to that, and I don't know if we're getting ahead, but what I've seen and what I did and what I've seen a lot of other coaches do, especially when they're first starting out, is they try and bootstrap it, right? Like you want to go as cheap as you can, as low cost as possible. You're going to find the free software that you can do. You're doing the MailChimps, you're using the free version of Trainerize or True Coach or whatever fulfillment app, right? Because everybody wants an app, or you're not even using an app and you're just using like Google Spreadsheets and you're putting workouts in there.
Everyone's using Google Spreadsheets.
I've done that, dude. I've done that so many times where I do workouts in Google Spreadsheet, share the spreadsheet, throw hyperlinks in there to YouTube videos, have them go in there, and that's the way that the program was provided, right? And it's cheap, but over time you start talking to people, you're like, oh, well, you probably need a funnel. So you go to ClickFunnels and you sign up.
Yep.
And so now you're paying for ClickFunnels. And then you need a calendar software. So you go to Calendly because that's where everybody's going.
Yep.
And they use Calendly and they sign up for Calendly. And then, oh, well, maybe I need a website. So then you go to Wix or you go to Squarespace and you sign up for the low cost website, right? And you do it all yourself, and you're kind of what I like to call Frankensteining a system, right? You're creating this Frankenstein's monster of software.
And they usually don't even work as well as Frankenstein.
Right? I mean, it would be great if you could just shock
moves,
them,
right?
and walks around. But they don't talk to each other. The software doesn't in many cases, right?
Yep.
Like I remember there was one point at the gym, and this is kind of going backwards, but we had our website on Wix, and we were trying to put a form from the membership management software we were using, I think it was Zen Planner at the time, onto Wix, and we couldn't do that, right? FitHive was like that. You couldn't take a form from FitHive and put that on an external website.
Weird iframe thing that may or may
and
not
then
work.
It still didn't work great.
Like,
and the whole reason is you wanted, when somebody filled out that form, for it to put that information into your database so that you can nurture and talk to people, right? So that was a problem. So you have software that doesn't talk to each other. They don't function together. And you have 4 or 5 or 6 different pieces of software that you have to memorize logins for. Some of them you're paying subscriptions for, right? So that's where I kind of see, most coaches in the first year-ish of their business up until a revenue of around $10K a month.
Yep.
Right. Sometimes it goes longer than that year. Sometimes it's shorter, but about that first year, about $10K a month. That's what I call like the startup phase, right? Where they're bootstrapping it and they're Frankensteining together a system. And that it comes to a point where you run into a roadblock. There's a bottleneck, right? Like at some point, in order to get over that hump and to start to grow, most coaches realize I can't keep doing it the way I've been doing it, right? And we've seen some pretty elaborate spreadsheets.
Very elaborate
like
spreadsheets.
Some that I'm like, these are beautiful. Like I can't even like
I always challenge them. I'm like, I think you're just doing that so you don't have to do the stuff that's actually hard.
Right.
You feel like you're being productive because you see data on a screen that looks really pretty, but all the person cares about, did you help them lose 10 pounds and run?
Right.
They don't care about all that other data points. That's what you care about. I think something very interesting that you said at the very beginning of that, and I always like to challenge people that when they go online about the relationships, because I think COVID really changed the way people think about it, right? Mm-hmm. We've seen each other in person twice now.
Yeah.
Second time, right? And I feel like I know you.
Well, we've known each other for 3 or 4 years.
Right.
And we've been in person twice.
And when we met in person, it was, it was just like we were meeting anyway, right? So it's very interesting to have that mindset shift from gym owners.
And you were taller than I thought you were.
Taller?
Look, I'm just going to throw that out there. I thought, talking to you on video for 2 years, like I thought you were short. I don't know why.
I don't know why either. I thought you were a little buffer, but that's okay.
What?
I'm just kidding. But it's a very interesting mindset shift when you go from there, because and I think when you go from in person to online, because you feel like you can't give that same personal touch, you feel like you can't give that same relationship, you start to undervalue and not charge enough for it, right? And I always challenge them, like, hey, so you're personal training, how many clients did you do today? I did 4 clients today. I was like, awesome. How many of those did you touch?
What do you mean?
Right. Did you physically touch your client in any way with those 4 clients? And 90% of them, unless they get creepy, say, oh, I never touched them at all.
Right.
I'm like, what's the difference between that and going online, we're not going to touch them anyway. Right? Zoom calls are more convenient. Having access to the app whenever they want it, whenever they want to do the workouts is the same, right? You're probably texting them anyway. You're still verbally telling them good job and all that other stuff. Why can't you do the same thing? And they're like, oh, I get that, right? Awesome. Then if you're charging for the results and not the access to you.
Or the time.
Or the time, right? You can charge anything you want. And then on the flip side of that, from in person, you are landlocked based upon the geographic area that you're in and the economics, right? You could be in a small town of 500 people and be making $1 million a year online coaching because all of your clients are in California, Phoenix, they're Florida. Like we've got clients in Ohio that are paying, $5,000 every quarter because they're affluent enough, they understand the investment, and we're giving them the results that they want. So having that kind of challenging question makes people like, oh, right, I can start to charge more, have lower expenses, and really shift everything to online and probably give people better results because now profit solves all problems. You need to help a client lose 30 pounds. Well, if that client's paying you $1,500, $3,000 a month, you're going to make them lose 30 pounds, right? No matter what it takes, you're going to make sure they have the resources and the means to get that done. So yeah, that's a story of how going online and why we want to get it online, right? And this next part here, what I really like to talk about is the keep it simple operating system birth, right? And why it the first MVP, and Josh, you can fill in the gaps here, but keep it simple came around, and why, the experience from the gyms that I had, the experience of talking to online coaches, and I originally started a company, or Keep It Simple was originally called FitBiz Solutions, right? And we provided virtual assistant services because I was like, man, the chaos that I went through with the gyms and then what I'm hearing for online coaches and they need help, they just need assistance to take over a lot of the busy work and that'll help them, right? And that really grew really fast, actually. Like it just made sense. The price point that we had made sense. And the problem that we had, or what we ran into, was we said yes to anything, right? Hey, can you help us with marketing? Yes. Hey, can you help me with setting? Yes. Can you help us with graphic design? Yes. Can you help me with checking my emails? Yes.
But you weren't charging appropriately for those additional services.
Well, that's you're correct, right? So we weren't charging enough, but the biggest factor, because we realized even when we started charging more, people were still signing up and buying. And I actually told you this on the car ride over here to the studio, but what I was finding is, because we weren't doing business coaching and we were letting the owner decide what they should have us do based upon the resources that we had, what was happening is it was essentially neutering the owner, because they would just assume that we would just do it, right? And that was on us, because that's kind of what we said, right? It's like, yeah, hey, you need help with building a website. We can do it. What platform will it be on? Any platform you want, right? You pick. We'll do it on WordPress. We'll do it on Wix. We'll do it on Go High Level. We'll do it on whatever you want, right? And it sounded good. And they're like, yeah, let's do it. All right, cool. I got a website. I got funnels. I got all that stuff. Now, how do I get people to it? Hey, we got a setter right here that's trained and ready to go, right? If that setter didn't do its job, well, who got blamed for it? We did. Well, cool. Well, we just need to do paid marketing. Oh, we'll do paid marketing for you. And eventually we quickly realized that if we were going to do that for everyone with all of these unique things, right? Then what was happening is we basically became equity partners of every business that we brought on without having the final decision on it.
Right.
And because of that, the margins weren't there, weren't really making a whole lot of money. And I was thinking, man, this is just turning into another gym experience, right? And about a year ago, so this was 2024. I think it was 2024, maybe a little bit earlier than that. Well, it's probably 2023 at this point. I talked to the CEO at the time. I brought in a guy that was going to help us kind of really go after the gym industry, and realized I have a choice to make. I can either cut all services and move on with just the software side of things, because I really enjoyed the software side of things, not the virtual assistant side of things. But if I just cut everything off, we're leaving a lot of people high and dry, right? Not only our team members, which I really cared about, but also the clients that we worked with. And so I made a decision that I essentially sold the virtual assistant side of things to our CEO at the time, and for nothing, like zero. It was like, hey, you just take over payroll, you take over these clients, I'll take these virtual assistants and the software side of things. We'll just clean it up if that's something that you're interested in. He's like, yeah, I actually would love that. And he took that side over. And then on the software side of things, it wasn't even Keep It Simple yet, right? The software side of things, I really just wanted to sell Go High Level as an agency, a little bit of solutions involved with it, give it over. And kind of looking in the past, understanding that I really wanted to work with online coaches. We started slowly working with online coaches and offering a few things. And about a year ago, that's where you came in, right? And this is the beautiful part, right? So tell me, when you came in, right? I think the first MVP, right? So minimum viable product was a messy but magical mess.
Wow. Messy but magical.
Messy but
the
magical.
MBM. You gotta love those.
So tell me your experience coming in, because Keep It Simple was formed at that time.
Yeah.
But it definitely isn't what it is today.
Not even close. It looks like a totally different business at this point. Different software platform.
Thanks. Not even close. I see.
It's not. I mean, the evolution of Keep It Simple in the last year has been pretty incredible to watch, right? To see where it was when we first started having these discussions and kind of partnering together and to what we're doing now, right? Like initially when I started, we're going to set up all of this stuff for you. And we haven't even talked about Unstoppable, but that was also a big aspect of it, right? So Unstoppable is the online coaching, Unstoppable 365, that you are part owner of, and you kind of helped grow them. And the idea is that you were taking the systems that you used through Go High Level and all these things to help grow Unstoppable, and we were offering that to other coaches, right? And at first it made total sense, right? Like, why wouldn't we? Like we have market success. We've proven that it works, right? And so why not take those same systems, drop them into a platform for other coaches? And at the time, it was pretty much just Go High Level. We were kind of flirting with Trainerize quite a bit, but we were also allowing coaches to use other software for their fulfillment. And it was, I mean, for lack of a better term, kind of a clusterfuck, right? Like a coach would come on and it was very difficult. Like, I came in to take over onboarding right off the bat, and to try and figure out that system.
It was a spider web of chaos.
It was. And I've told you this a number of times. It wasn't until probably March, April, May of this year that I really started to feel comfortable with understanding all the stuff that you guys were doing and how you were doing it and putting it in and starting to organize it. And it was right around that time that we were having more conversations about, like, how can we better serve? And at that time, and I know you talked about online coaches, but we were also that we weren't exclusive to them. Like
we were helping everybody.
We were
anybody that wanted to pay us. We would help.
Anybody that that was interested. We would try and figure it out, to our detriment to a certain extent, right? It's the same idea that we tell coaches all the time. Like, find your avatar, find the group that you want to help, that you feel passionate about, and do it absolutely. Like you brought up Dan Martell earlier, and he says, like, if you don't have a core offer that
if your core offer can't make $1 million a year, you have a shitty offer.
Yeah.
Period.
So
you shouldn't add another one.
There were a lot of discussions around, like, we need to streamline this, right? We need to simplify it, get back to it. And I think I call you on the table all the time. Like you name the company, keep it simple, but right. You try and overcomplicate things to a large degree. Extent, so it's always trying to like bring it back to the core of how can we keep it as simple as possible, but effective, right? And it was right around that time that we partnered with a strategic partner that was bringing a lot of business to us, and the Trainerize enterprise thing kind of happened, right? Where we're like, hey, let's look at how do if we can partner with Trainerize, essentially become an enterprise client, and now our offer really kind of took shape. And I think that's where the KISS OS, the KISS operating system, really kind of
formed and was created. Yep.
Yeah. So we figured out like how can we package our services, and the services were, we build a custom CRM system, the backend system. And I always tell anybody we talk to, like, we kind of help coaches do everything from lead management through fulfillment.
Yep.
Right. The only thing we really don't do is the marketing and the lead generation. We have some assets and some tools that can help you with that, but we're not marketers. We're not trying to go out there and run your ads and tell you how to market. Like you got to run your marketing and do that stuff. But once you get them as a lead, our system can help nurture that lead. It can help convert that lead, and then it ultimately can help fulfill on that client long term.
Yep.
And we do it in a way that minimizes the amount of manual work that a coach has to do. So I think when we got Trainerize on board,
clicked.
Yeah, things like clicked, or the light went off, or the heavens opened up, and any cliche you want to use.
Beautiful thing to say. Hey, this is what we do.
Yeah.
If you want it, buy it. If you don't want it,
and it all of a sudden became so much easier to describe.
Yep.
Right, because before it was like, yeah, well, we build a website for you, and we build all these things, and then we can do some video. We edit videos and all this stuff, but now it became like this true MVP product.
Now it's just magical.
And it's even evolved since then, right? Like over the course of the last 6 months, like it's continued to evolve, and we continue to enhance it and iterate on it and make it better and better and better. But that's kind of how, and I think the name KISS OS, right? I think we were
the OS part. Yeah,
we were bantering one day, just kind of like, because it was, I don't even remember what we called it at the time. Did we have a name?
We didn't really have a name.
It was just keep it simple. And I always loved the idea of having,
I think it was like premium, maybe
something like that.
The premium CRM
might have been. And having an operating system for a coach, right? That they could generate, once they generate the leads, they could nurture those leads. They could turn around and sell them, and then they could also fulfill. Like this to me was a way for a coach to simplify everything they did into one platform. Our tech stack is very minimal. We're not adding multiple pieces of software together. It's 2 software pieces essentially, and we created a way for an online coach to really be able to grow and scale without the need to add a bunch of additional staff members. They didn't have to add coaches. They didn't have to add closers and setters and things. They could run a successful business doing 20, 30, 40, 50K a month, I feel, with minimum time because of the way that we automate and set up the system.
And I think during that time, one of the biggest aha moments that we had when we realized what we were actually building was there's so many business coaches out there for online coaches, right? And almost every one of them, whether they teach them how to do marketing, business coaching, philosophy, whatever it is, even if they teach them how the systems work, they just tell them, hey, this is what you need to do. Owner, go build it or set it up.
Mm-hmm.
And the first couple of people that came from because we've got a ton of referral partners out there, and we love all of them between AI, setters, business coaching, marketing. We realized that what we were building was something that online coaches needed, But also even further than that, what all those coaches needed to offer to maximize their offer, right? So, but at the flip side of it, we also, once we can build the system for anybody, right? But if they can't figure out how to generate a lead, they're going to look at us like, oh, well, the system's awesome, but I don't have any clients going through it. So we realized that there was a synergy here that we could offer not only a product that was an MVP that would be successful for the end user, but also something that was needed in the market from all those partners, right? And it really became and I really think that aha moment when you're like, all right, we have something that we can explain, we can duplicate, we know that it's going to work. Like we know 100% any coach that comes on board with us that signs up, this will work and this is how we're going to build it. And it has a market for the end user as well as other businesses. I think that was when the birth of KISS OS was.
Yeah, I remember I would, obviously we live in 2 different time zones, and I would wake up some mornings and there would be 4 or 5 texts from you that you had already been that morning. You'd be like, I've been researching this and there's this and like all of this stuff. And I would just start laughing every morning and be like, all right, I'm going to get to you after I have my coffee. Like, I'm not going to deal with this yet.
Lots of ideas.
Yeah, so many ideas. But, we realized that nobody else had built anything like this. There were parts of it, right? There are a lot of agencies out there that run go high level agencies that build back end systems and the nurture and the websites and stuff. But there were other agencies that have the trainer eyes and have the fulfillment side, but there was nobody else out there that had it connected the way we do. And I think that's one of the beauties, and that's one of the major selling points is the fact that it's automated. That for a coach to be able to sell somebody and have that client go through an onboarding process, that the coach doesn't have to do a bunch of manual work, right? They don't have to go into their trainer eyes and manually create an account, a profile for the client. They don't have to then send them the email. They don't have to then, like the ability for the software to create that profile automatically, send them the email to download the app, and then with our workout builder, be able to load a custom designed workout program into their profile without the coach even lifting a finger. Like those are like the the moments where coaches are just like, wait, what? Like I don't have to like spend 2 hours designing a program and throwing and doing that. Like, yeah. Cause when you start to look at like how much time we can save people on that process, it's mind blowing to your point on now. What if you spent that time working on your business instead of writing a program, how much better could your business be?
Depending on the coach that you talk to, literally the same program for every single client of that particular type. It's an argument, right?
And then going back to the pricing model, like once we were able to figure out a price where we could include the custom branded app for trainer eyes into that price, like people were just like, this is great. Like it was too easy to sell at the beginning. Like that's when you and I were having these conversations like, wait, what? You sold another one? Like I sold like 3 of them in the first week. And you're just like, all right,
we got something.
Like something's
working. I think one of my favorite parts when KISS OS was truly born was when, and this is coming back to like our theme and everything else with the superheroes, but when you can describe what you do as the infinity gauntlet of online coaching, it's pretty dope, right? It's like, they're like, what? The infinity gauntlet? It's like, yeah. So we take these infinity stones, which is the software, that are awesome by themselves, right? But they don't really work well with other software. But you take them and put them into the infinity gauntlet, and you take every one of those stones, and now you can take over the universe.
Please don't sue us, Marvel.
Right. We are looking in copyrights, but then you can say, hey, this is what we do, and we're the infinity gauntlet of online coaching. Like the more I describe that to somebody, and usually if there's only about, if it's in passing and I've done a mastermind, and they literally were like, so what do you do? And there's a bunch of people around. I would have to explain it that way. And it was like, they didn't even ask what the software was. They didn't ask about anything else. They're like, yes, I need to talk to you. Like, I feel I've got all these things. They don't work well together. I need the KISS OS as the Infinity Gauntlet. So Josh, kind of segueing here. I know we've talked a lot about business, what really brought us here today, but let's go behind the cape.
Yeah.
Right? This is I don't know about any guys that are listening to this or gals, but guys usually don't like to talk about their personal stuff. Right?
I don't.
Not at all. But going behind the cape, we're going to ask some questions here. We'll go back and forth here, but I guess this is a big one, which I think a lot of people don't think about when they want to become an entrepreneur. So being an entrepreneur with the businesses that you've had, being partners in Keep It Simple, how has that impacted family and relationships?
So when I met my now wife, it was before I owned the gym. I was doing some in-person coaching. I did a little bit of online stuff at that time, but I had like 5 or 6 clients that were sustaining me, right? I was making enough money off of these clients. I would go train them out of their home or out of their office or something like that. And I had connected with the guys that owned the gym at the time, and I had started doing a little bit of work there, and then got that opportunity to purchase it. And, we were dating at the time, so it was, there wasn't a whole lot of discussion around whether or not I should or shouldn't do this. It was, this is what I'm doing, right? And she was so totally supportive of it. Now, the owning the gym and being a part of that process, especially during the COVID, pandemic part, which in and of itself was a whole nother challenge. But I would say that it strained us to a degree. I mean, I'm fortunate to have an incredible wife. Like, she's super supportive of everything I do. And, the
incredible new wife.
Yeah. We got married a couple months ago, but, but to not have an issue with me getting up early, understanding that I'm going to be home late. I'm at home. I'm still doing work, right? Like, work doesn't shut down when you go home, when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a gym owner, right? There was still stuff that needed to get done, needed to work on. And, I don't think it ever caused any issues. Thankfully, I think that, and now that I'm out of the gym, obviously I was, my stress levels reduced dramatically. So I didn't, I think that our relationship has gotten better because I'm easier to be around probably. I mean, you ask her, I'm probably not the easiest guy to be around most of the time. I'm stubborn and opinionated about a lot of things.
Very opinionated about everything.
Whoa. I mean, we could take the very out of it. Like, just say opinionated. I have my moments. But
he's gotten flustered. If anybody is
not
watching the video,
that doesn't happen very often. I don't get flustered. Every once in a while. But yeah, I think that just the stress level going down, and then, being able to work from home. Like, we didn't have a dog. Now we have a dog because I'm working from home. And this is something that she's wanted our entire relationship. And I continue to, like, push it off. So I'm like, who's going to take care of a dog? Like, I'm not taking it to the gym because I have people there that are allergic to dogs, and I can't do that. She's a physical therapist. She can't take it to the office. Right. But now that I work from home, so it's easy, like, and just being able to have that freedom has been great.
And that's a really positive place to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right. My with family and relationships, I started in entrepreneurship in 2011. Pure chaos. Back then, it was the priorities was trying to build something that could really take my family from, low middle class to upper class and beyond, right? And it was really chasing the shiny objects. No, it's getting pretty high up there. Chasing shiny objects in my first marriage, it was, always trying to chase the money, chase what would do it, and I sacrificed a lot of time, right? Weekends, holidays, special events. Didn't get to stay home very often, right?
Yeah, you have to work when everybody else is off, right?
Right. That's the problem. Working nights, weekends, trying to figure things out, right? And
take any vacations?
Well, it was, but I was working,
yeah.
Right? Or over leveraging myself because that's all we had, right? Having the understanding and the stress of telling your family that, hey, I just made payroll for everybody else, and our payroll is going to be next week. Mm-hmm. Just to let you know, that's part of being an entrepreneur, right? And that really impacted my family at the time, my kids, and going into my next marriage and the next business ventures, the priorities changed, right? Because I realized what it did to everybody. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to repeat the process. Mm-hmm. So this time around, if it came to the point where I had to sacrifice time over the money, right? I knew now, I'm also 20 years older, right? Little different when you start thinking of it that way, right? The answer was just no. Like, it's not that important, mm-hmm. right? So, being an entrepreneur, that's one thing that people don't tell you, right? The stress, and not only the stress on yourself, but the impact that it makes on everybody around you, mm-hmm. especially your family. And they'll support you to a point, but eventually things have got to give. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, I've been trying this for 10 years.
Right.
You're not staying home any more than you were before. Something's got to give, right? So it's a very impactful thing, right? So anybody listening, if you're going to become an entrepreneur, make sure you think through that. And just like Maslow's hierarchy of laws, make sure you're taken care of, your family's taken care of first, the relationships are taken care of first. Because if it's not, you're effed as an entrepreneur.
I mean, especially in the gym business, right? Because gym owners say, like, oh, it's going to be awesome. I'm going to be able to work out whenever I want. Like, nope.
I didn't want to work out.
I know.
That's the last fucking place I wanted to be was the gym.
I used to have a gym membership at a different gym because I didn't want to be at my gym to work out. Because one, if there were any other people there, you never got a workout in because you were getting stopped constantly. Yep. And two, you just wanted a change of scenery, right? You wanted to be able to go and see something else than the where you're at nonstop. So yep. If you had time to do that anyways.
Right. So Josh, thank you for sharing that. So now that we kind of know the background of who we are, right? Background of Keep It Simple and why we've kind of created it. What is the mission forward, right? What is the mission we want to do? And I think one thing that I want to bring up, because you've said it quite a few times, especially about me, is what Keep It Simple really means, right? And I think we've made some really good decisions the last year to actually keep things simple. How we even cut 4 programs that we were offering down to 1, mm-hmm. right? To truly keep it simple from our side of things. Our team's much smaller, keeping it simple. And I think coming back to my personal experience, keeping it simple really means not trading time for money. If you can implement something that can automate, provide value that somebody wants to exchange money for without having to increase the amount of time that takes to get it done, I think that's really what Keep It Simple is, what it's about, and what we build for people.
I would also piggyback on that and say, when you, from a coaching side or a programming side, there's something known as like minimum effective dose, right? Which is what's the minimum amount of work somebody needs to do in order to achieve a specific result, right? And in terms of what we do and what we do for coaches, it's also kind of the same thing. Is it's really easy to add layers upon layers upon layers of things and to think that you need these very convoluted, complex onboarding systems and workflows, and helping coaches just try and trim it down to what's the minimum amount of things that need to happen in order for a client to get signed up, get set up, and to start seeing success, right? Because if you don't think about it that way, then you end up with 15 emails that they have to receive and 14 videos or courses or all of these different things. And, again, all the time, we work with a lot of coaches that are real, successful, that have systems, and they're coming to us to help streamline. And we're looking at these very convoluted onboarding and setups schemes. And it's like, the first question is why? Like, what purpose does all of these things serve? And is there a way to do it and get the same result? Because ultimately, what does a client want? They want to get started. They want to see results. Right. Like, it's the same thing with Trainerize. Like, I get pushback on Trainerize from time to time from clients, and it's like, well, I don't love Trainerize. I'm like, neither do I. But guess who else? But guess who doesn't care? Your clients. Right. The only person that cares about what the software looks like or functions is the coach. Their clients don't care at all. As long as it provides what they're looking for, they don't care what app it is. Just, you have an app, right? Like it
works.
Records, sets weights, and has videos of workouts and all that stuff. It works great. So stop worrying so much about the little things that aren't as important. Worry about the things that matter. And that's really it. Like, what's the things that actually matter? That's keep it simple.
And when kind of segue from that, when I get pushback on that, sometimes you're like, hey, I like this thing or I like that thing. I was like, at the end of the day, you got to keep it as simple as this, as just like your clients, like putting it in terms that they'll understand is, if to get 95% of people results that sign up for a workout program, you need to make sure that they move their body, stop eating fast food, and go for a fucking walk.
Right.
If they do those three things,
maybe get some extra sleep.
Maybe some extra sleep, right? Sleep is underrated. But if they get those, okay, we'll say those four things, right? Keeping it that simple, they're going to get results.
Right.
95% of people are going to do that. So Josh, again, thank you for everything here. All the listeners out there, what I want you to do, we're going to give you 3 simple action steps at the end of every one of our episodes here, just to stay with us. And for today's episode, what I want you to do is identify one chaotic system in your business that drains your time. Okay? Identify that one. Because the first thing is you got to really look at the brutal reality. So you got to identify it. Then write out the first 3 steps you need to automate, delegate, or delete. You'd be so surprised on how many people just need to get rid of shit, right? So automate, delegate, or delete. What are those 3 steps? Then share that realization with one other coach or your team today and commit out loud, right? So if you need something, go ahead and post something below here. We'll respond back to you. Shoot us a text message, shoot us an email, comment on one of our social media what your realization was, and we'll help respond back to it, right? If you know another coach, there is plenty of clients out there.
So many clients, right? Unstoppable 365 will take 3,000 of them, and you can have the other, how many people are in the world? 70 million or something just in the U.S. In the U.S., right? So there's plenty to go around. So share that. Now remember, guys, every superhero has an origin story. Ours started in chaos. Yours might too. But clarity is waiting. Suit up. Your OS is ready.